Hi, in this video I will be covering the exterior angle sum theorem. So just as a quick announcement, please be mindful that the marking period ended yesterday on Monday the 2nd of November. Please check your grades in PowerSchool. Email me if you find any mistakes. I did finalize grades yesterday in terms of making sure everything that I had in yesterday was graded. So please check behind me and communicate with me through email or remind text to let me know if there's anything you need me to check on. So today you are going to have an interactive lesson. You're going to take notes, but also pause the video and try some problems on your own when I ask you to pause. You do have a quiz tomorrow on lines, angles, or lines, transversals, and angles. So the material from Thursday's vocab, Friday, and Monday. So if you have not yet done those assignments, you need to do that. So you'll be ready for that quiz. These topics are not hard, but if you are not keeping up, you will become overwhelmed. So please keep up day to day. So today you're going to take notes, follow instructions in the video. You're going to complete the remaining problems in Delta Math, and then submit a picture of your notes and work on the link provided in your Canvas announcement. Remember to go back and do Monday's assignment if you have not already. That does count as a quiz grade. And then again, join your teacher for a class on Zoom. So the exterior angle sum theorem, if we break down what this is talking about, we're talking about specifically triangles. So exterior, I want you to recognize exterior means outside. Angle, we know what an angle is. Sum means we add. And a theorem is just something that is true. So I abbreviated it EAST or EAST. The EAST theorem says that the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. We need to talk about what that is. So if I draw a triangle and I extend one of the sides, let's say I call this triangle A, B, C, and I call this D out here. Then the measure of this here, this exterior angle, so I'm going to call this X, and I'm going to use the same color as the notes here to represent exterior. The sum of this angle the measure of this angle will be equal to the sum of the two remote interior. So I want you to think remote means far away. So I should see all of this that I'm writing in your notes. And interior means inside. So think about what that means. The measure of the exterior is equal to adding the two far away inside angles. So I have inside 3 angles. This here is the supplement to X. In other words, to find this measure, if I call that Y, Y would equal 180 minus X. Why? Because these are a linear pair. So I'll write up there that X plus Y make a linear pair. And if you're not familiar with that terminology, you need to go back and do your other assignments. So this X is going to be equal to the sum of these two remote interior angles all the time. So I'm going to call this A and B and highlight them in purple. So that's what I mean by the two remote interiors. So I always, and you'll hear me say it, cover up this interior angle here, this linear pair with X, and X will equal A plus B. So I'm going to write that down over here. The measure of X, I'll call it angle X. The measure of, well, technically it should be the measure of angle BCD. Remember, we name angles using letters. If there are 2 angles forming from a vertex, then we use 3 letters, so BCD. So the measure of angle BCD would be found by adding the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle A. Okay, so that's going to be our exterior angle theorem, or you can think of it as X equals A plus B. All right, so triangles can be written in many different ways. They can be angled differently, but technically I could extend this angle here, and then here I have an exterior angle, I could extend this side and have an exterior angle here, all those types of things. So the triangle is not always oriented this way, but my recommendation would be for you to draw it that way. So how would this work in theory? Let's say we have this random triangle and I extend it so that I have an exterior angle out here. And I'll call this X, Y, and A and B. So if I give these measures, like if I wanted to know the value of X, and let's say this angle is 27 and this here is 35, then all I would need to do to find X is add 27 and 35 degrees, which would give me 62 degrees. Okay, so this would be 62. Another strategy would be, well, we also know that all the angles in a triangle add up to what? 180 degrees. So I could just take my calculator, and I know a lot of y'all were taught to add the two given angles and then subtract. I tend to just subtract only. So for this one here, I could say, oh, well, if I wanted to know y, that would be 180 subtract 35 and 27. And that would be, see if y'all could see it, 180 minus 35 and 27 is 118. So y is 118, and then because these are a linear pair, I could also do 180 minus 118. So a couple different ways. So this is the exterior angle sum theorem. We're also going to be focused in on the triangle sum theorem, which you already know, which is that all measures of the sum of all angles in a triangle add up to 180. I'll just write that down. The triangle sum theorem, stuff we already know, states that the sum of all angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. So we're going to use that to practice as well because both these theorems kind of go hand in hand. So in terms of notes, this is all I need from the notes. I'm going to flip the page and expect to see some work from these problems. Some of them are so basic, I would say, hey, no work required. But when we get to the ones that do require work, I'm going to ask you to make sure that you show your work. And you are going to submit those in Canvas. So make sure you're listening to the video. So we're going to go through our skills for today. And I'm going to write down which ones I'm doing. 1, 3, 5, 7, 10, 14, 15, and 18. Okay. All right, so we're going to start off doing one together. And look how simple these are. It says the measures of the angles of a triangle are shown in the figure below. Solve for x. Well, what do we know, guys? We know, because of the triangle sum theorem, that all angles in a triangle add up to 180. So no work required for this type of problem. I'm just going to take 180. Make sure you can see my calculator. And subtract out. So 180 subtract 48, subtract 97. If you want to add 48 and 97 and then subtract them, that's fine too. It's the same thing. I just like to do it in one step. So we get 35 degrees. So we just come over here and do 35. How easy is that? All right. Then number 2 is exactly like number 1. So you can pause it now if you want, or you can to do number 2 and then come back to the video, or you can just go back to number 2 later. Number 3 is about solving for an interior angle, but this time I give you an expression. So this I would want to see work for. So the first problem I want to see work for on your work, so we'll call this 11, what's today's date? It's election day, y'all. 11-3 work. So for number 3, we know that all the angles, 100 plus 48 plus 5x minus 8 add up to 180 degrees. So we're really just solving this simple equation, noting that we can combine all of these integers here. So let's do that first. So in my calculator, hopefully you can see it. Oh, I want to make sure you can. I'll focus it again. Maybe that'll help. If it doesn't, I'll dim my screen. Yeah, that works. 100 plus 48 plus, or we can do minus 8 rather, because that's what we see. 100 plus 48 minus 8. Oh, I must have hit negative. 100 plus 48 minus 8, and that's 140 degrees. So that means we have 140 plus 5x equals 180. Let me refocus that. And then it's just a basic two-step equation we're going to solve. So I do want to see you solving these equations. We did not require you to submit the work yesterday, but this will help us to also assess if you are having any issues with solving. So our x value is equal to 8. It does say to solve for x, so once we find the value of x, which is 8, we're done. But I think it's important to kind of see if that works. So if I take 180, and subtract out the 100 and the 48, then I get 32. So I guess the question is, does this measure here equal 32? And so let's see if I plug it in. So does 5x minus 8 equal 32 degrees? Well, if I substitute the 8, not that I'm expecting to see all this, you can easily do this in your calculator. We can do 5 times 8 minus 8, and it does equal 32. So by substituting back in, we can verify that it works. Okay? So I'm going to ask you to next try one of these on your own with number 4. So same thing. Pause the video, go ahead and do number 4, and come back. All right, for number 5, let's take a look at this one. This one's a little bit different. So I'm going to expect, after seeing the work for number 3, I expect to see the work for number 4. I'll leave some space in my notebook. So number 5, this time we're given a right angle. So I just wanted to recap that if you see a square, that means that this angle measure is 90 degrees. So we've got x plus 9 and 5x minus 3. You're, of course, welcome to copy the picture. Not that mine's pretty, but have it in your notes, so if you're studying later, you'll have it. So I'm going to add all the angles and set it equal to 180. One of my favorite ways, by the way, to do this when I have to combine like terms is to do this. So you can write it out like I did in number 3, or you can kind of stack them. So all I did was stack like terms. I stacked my x terms together and my integers together. So here, if I combine this, there's an understood 1, so that would make 6x, and this would be 90 plus 9 is 99, minus 3 is 96. You can use your calculator if you want, but now it's just a two-step equation, and our job is to just solve for x. So I'm going to do 180 subtract 96, and that gives me 84. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 6. And 84 divided by 6 is 14. So pause the video if that was too fast. Copy that down, because you're going to end up doing the next one like this. Okay, so just want to do one where you saw that if it had a 90-degree measure, you just use 90 in the problem. All right, and then number 6 is a different one. It's not a right angle this time, but you can stack them like I did in number 5. So do your work for number, do your work for number 6 in your notebook, and then type in your answer for 6, and then rejoin the video. All right, I'm next going to do number 7. So for number 7, notice, and I do want you to put this in your notebook. I have this angle out here, that's 159. This is an exterior angle because it is outside. Remember, interior is inside, exterior outside. My job is to find the value of x, and they give us 109. So there's a couple different approaches. We could use the exterior angle sum theorem, but then we'd have to find this one. We'd have to actually wouldn't even need the exterior angle. We could use the triangle sum theorem and subtract these two from, subtract this from, excuse me, if we think about this, these two add up to 159, so do 159 minus 109 to get y, excuse me, but that's not the easiest way. So the easiest way is to recognize that when two angles they have a adjacent side and the vertex is shared and they form a line, that this is a linear pair, which is supplementary. And remember what supplementary means. It's two angles whose sum is 180. So all I really need to do here is 180 subtract the 159, and that'll give me the x value. Okay, because we have this acute angle and this obtuse angle, which together form a line. So 180 minus 159 is 21 degrees. So certainly when your 159, or like this measure exterior angle is right beside this interior, it's just easier to use that relationship of a linear pair being supplementary. See? And that's what they did there. That the x plus the 159 would equal 180, so all you have to do is subtract 159 from 180. All right, so I have two that you'll do here. Go ahead and do 8 and 9. Feel free to draw those in your notebook. Note here, guys, for number, I think this is 8, note 9, that this is a 90-degree measure, but it's not going to impact it. These are still supplementary because they are a linear pair. So you can pause those and finish through 9 and pick it back up with 10. So I'm going to do 10 next. This looks like the same picture, but we're asked to find something a little different this time, not the supplement. So this is 164 degrees, this is x, and this is 114. And it says the side of the triangle below has been extended to form an exterior angle of 164. That's what this is. Find the value of x. So this is where your exterior angle sum theorem comes in. It means that the exterior angle here is equal to the sum of these two, the remote interior. So not the supplement or the one that helps form a linear pair with it, but this exterior angle is equal to the sum of these two remote interior. So I'm going to just set up an equation. So x plus 114 is equal to 164. Then to solve, I can just subtract the 114 from both sides, and that leaves 50 degrees. That's it. Now, can we use other deductive reasoning? Well, sure. Based on what I just showed you, this angle is going to be 180 subtract the exterior angle measure, which would be 16 degrees. And then can I use the triangle sum theorem, like subtract these two from 180 to find x? Yes. So x is also equal to 180, subtract out the other two angles that we know. Or add them and subtract, whatever your preference. Okay? But certainly this is where the exterior angle sum theorem comes into play. So our x value is 50. Sorry, so write that down, and you'll use that to help you with your next couple of problems. Let me see what I got here. So that'll be similar. Your exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior. So 119 equals 90 plus x. 119 equals 90 plus x. I would draw this down and then write the equation. 134 will equal x plus 112. So you'll go through and find those. So you'll do those through number 10. 14 changes it up a little bit. Or does it? I don't know, I had 14 written down. Just because it's 90 maybe. So 137 equals 90 plus x. 137 equals 90 plus x. And then you'll solve that. All right, so 15 is where these down here are where it changes up. But notice what I have. I have 15 And then down here I have a drawing for 15, okay? And that's mainly for people who will go through and maybe do the assignment but not see the video. So I'm trying to help everybody, although you're supposed to watch all of the video. It's part of your grade. So if we click on this problem, it actually doesn't even give you a picture. So it says triangle, in triangle FGH, the measure of angle F equals 6x minus 14 degrees. The measure of angle G equals 4x minus 8 degrees. And the measure of angle H equals x plus 15 degrees. Find the measure of angle F. So you might look at that and be a little bit overwhelmed. So I thought what I could do is draw it out for you. So if you look at number 15, you are going to draw it out. So they give you triangle FGH. So just draw a general triangle. Label the vertices in alphabetical order. If they say FGH, just go do FGH like this. Technically, it won't matter since there's only 3 vertices. And then on the inside, fill in the angle measure. And then if your job is to find the measure of angle F, by the way, these directions will say do not answer here. I want you to answer it up here. So in your notebook for the drawing, I want you to copy that down in the drawing. And I've already done that for you. So here's 15. You're going to copy it in your notebook. And then recognize that the sum of all 3 angles, if I have to find the measure of angle F, I first need to solve for x. Okay? So that means I have to add all these up and set it equal to 180. So I'm going to come over here, and I think it's so much easier to stack these expressions rather than list them horizontally. So I'm going to say 4x minus 8 plus 6x minus 14 plus x plus 15 is equal to 180. Put an understood 1 there. And that would give us 4 plus 6 is 10 plus 1 is 11x. Then just use your calculator. Negative 8 minus 14 plus 15 is negative 7. So I'm going to next add 7 to both sides. And I'll get 11x equals 187. Then divide both sides by 11. And then in your calculator, if you type in 187 divided by 11, you get 17. Now be careful. The question does not ask for the measure of, or the value of x. It asks for the measure of f. So that means after we find the value of 17, we then must substitute it back into the expression for angle f. So now I'm going to write out 6 times 17 minus 14. And that will be the measure of angle f. So 6 times 17 minus 14 gives us 88 degrees. So f would be 88 degrees. Now remember not to answer it on the drawing one, answer it here for 15. So again, it says the same thing. Draw a picture. The angles add up to 180. This is if you want to do it horizontally. I did it, stacked it vertically. But same thing, after getting 17, you substitute it back into the expression to find the value of angle f. So that's what you're going to need to do for 16 and 17. I do not draw these out for you. You're just going to draw the triangle like I did here, fill in, but this time use, of course, the appropriate letters, H, I, J. Fill them in, solve it the same way. So you've got 2 of those to practice. So if you want, you can pause it and resume when you finish 17 to pick up with 18. So for number 18, this time they give us different information. So notice they say, and I went ahead and did it in my notebook and included the picture underneath this problem as well. But it says in GHI, So you can draw GHI, a triangle GHI. It says GI is extended to the point J. So I just drew a line out from GI, which was extended to J. And then I filled in the measures that it gave me. So remember when we practiced on last Friday, naming angles was very important so that you could be able to fill this in. So it says IGH, so that means I go IGH, G being in the middle, G will be our vertex. So whatever the middle letter is where you put the measure. So see how it says G, that's where you're going to put the x plus 16. Next it says measure HIJ, so that means angle I, but you got to go HIJ, is 4x minus 12. And GHI, H is our middle letter, is x plus 10. And they are asking us, what is the measure of GHI? Okay, so I did, by the way, this is where you will answer it. On here I did include the drawing. So exactly what I did on paper, I just took a picture of that and embedded it. And we're going to go ahead and go back and solve and answer it here where it says 18. All right, so let's talk about it. So what do we know? We know that the measure of the exterior angle, this is an exterior angle, is equal to the sum of the two remote interior. All right, so this is our east theorem, exterior angle sum theorem. The measure of the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote, far away, interior, inside angles. So I'm going to write out x plus 10 plus x plus 16 equals 4x minus 12. And if you want to stack these vertically because you're adding them, you can. Combine like terms and we get 2x plus 26 equals 4x minus 12. And to solve, if I have 2x here and 4x, I always move the smaller coefficient to the side with the larger, just because I want to avoid a negative. But certainly if you wanted to subtract 4x, you could. So, sorry, I was doing all this other stuff last night. So 26, I'm not good at writing with mechanical pencils. 26 equals 2x minus 12. I add 12 to both sides. And this gives us 38 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2. And my x value will be half of 38, which is 15, 16, 19. So my x is 19, but that doesn't mean I'm done. Because what do they ask us to find? The measure of GHI. So I'm going to take this 19 and plug it back in for this angle measure. So if h is x plus 10, but I know that my x is 19, then 19 plus 10 is 29 degrees. And that's what I'm going to enter in here. All right, so notice they just drew it differently with the extended on the other side. Not always to have to draw them the same side, but certainly you could just kind of copy my picture. All right, and now you are going to do 19 and 20 on your own. Good luck, and let us know if you need any help over Zoom.